Okay, so now that we've taken our atlas, we're going to get an image back that looks like this, that has many different grid squares on it. And the first thing we need to do is load this atlas into our navigator. So to do that, we have to open our navigator under the navigator menu tab. We'll press open. And then one of the things we need to do is we want to click anywhere in the atlas and say new map, and that will load our atlas file right here. And then one of the really weird quirks about serial EM is that if you zoom in to the atlas initially, it's very low resolution, but if you reload the image, it becomes really crisp and clean. Okay, which you can see here. We can see pretty high resolution images. Okay, now that we've done that, we want to pick out a location with an identifiable piece of junk to do the image alignments. And you may be wondering why image alignments are necessary, and the short answer is that at different magnifications, the images don't necessarily, or serial EM doesn't know which coordinate system to use. So we have an X and Y, we have an X, Y, and Z coordinate for all of these different pixels in this image, right? And we want to pick a point, and we want to tell it what coordinate, at what coordinates the point is at our atlas, at a grid square level, and then at a view magnification, which is a higher magnification image of the holes. So to do that, we need to pick a point that we can remember and is identifiable later on. So I'm going to come back out, and one of the things you want to make sure you do is pick nice thick ice. So some of these look kind of cloudy and hazy, and you'll see at higher magnification they're a little harder to see. Whereas this up here, it seems really dark. So I'm going to pick that, and specifically, if you can see it, I'm going to pick this notch right here that's sticking out. So to do that, I'm going to go to my navigator, and I'm going to say add points, and then I'm going to pick that spot right there and say stop adding, and then go to XY. All right, and in the meantime, we want to go to settings, and we want to load our data collection settings, and that is going to be test square mag right here. Okay, and you'll see the screen turn white. Once you have your settings loaded, you want to verify that. It takes a minute sometimes, and then it always goes to digital micrograph, even though we don't want it to. But that's okay. All right. And then just to verify that we have moved to that X and Y position, I'm going to press that again, and it shouldn't take that long. And we are. So now I want to save this atlas in a new window. So I'm going to go to Window, New Window, and unless you want to give it a fancy name, I just call it Window 1. Okay. And I can pull that over here and come back to it later. And I can now take a search image. So I'll press search, and then it will take a few seconds, and Now we have our image, and it is just slightly off. So remember, we picked this point right here that came down, and we're going to place a marker here. And remember, the difference between a marker and a point is the marker is green, and then the point is remembered by the navigator, and it is some color, orange, red, blue. You can pick colors for it, and it has a number next to it. So now we want to tell Serial that we want to shift the coordinates of our search image by this distance. So to do that, we'll say navigator, shift to marker, and it will ask if we want to shift by this distance, and we will say yes. And then we're going to say go to XY again, and we want to verify that the shift occurred and that it was accurate. And we're going to press search one more time. And we move to the correct spot. So the next thing we want to do is go to view, and view is a little bit trickier because the image actually flips 180 degrees, and it can be a little tough to locate where you're at. And it loaded digital micrograph again, but lo and behold, we are in the correct place. So if this wasn't the case, you would have to repeat that process, okay? And further, if you collected this image and it wasn't in the right position, you would want to come back later and actually set offsets for your defocus, because sometimes if you're not completely eccentric, you can be very slightly off. And what you'll see is when you come back out to the search magnification after aligning here in the view magnification, your search would come off. So to do that, you would actually go down here to offsets for view and search. You would select search when you're in the search magnification, and then you would actually image shift to the correct position and press set. I'll have a separate video for that later on linked up for when I actually come across the problem. But for now, everything is as it should be. And the next thing is picking out grid squares for data collection.